Alright, for round 36, we're going to go ahead and connect the lavender yarn again, and this is the round where we do the puff stitch and finish off the lavender part of the design. So just to save a little time, I already did the first few stitches because there's a big chunk here to begin with. So you want to join in and start your repeat in the first spike stitch that comes after the pink front post. So right in this first one here. Then we're going to do 16 single crochet. So I've actually already done 12 of them just to save a little time. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that brings us to our puff stitch. So we're going to do a puff stitch into this magenta front loop right here. So we're going to draw up a loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, this one doesn't want to play nice. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta work at it a little bit. Remember the chain after the puff stitch, then we're gonna skip 1, do 1 single crochet, and our front post. So we're gonna do a front post double treble, yarning over 3 times. To go around here. If this is too much, you can drop down to 2 and do a front post treble. Just depends on how much yarn you need. We are going to skip 1 and finish the repeat with 12 more single crochet. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and our last 2, 11 and 12, should set us up for the next repeat to start in the first spike stitch there. So this is our repeat. They're getting longer and longer as we get to the end here. So we start in the first stitch, the first spike stitch after the front post here. We start with 16 single crochet, then our puff stitch, chain, skip 1, a single crochet, then our front post. I did a front post double treble, so I yarned over 3 times, skip 1, and finish with 12 more single crochet. So that's it for the repeat, and as you notice, that's it for this lavender part of the design. Finish that up, and then we'll have another round of spike stitches to help set that guy off. Alright, we finished up the puff stitches in this part of the design here, so now we've got the round with lots and lots of spike stitches. This is round 37. We're going to go back to the magenta yarn and grab my hook here, and we do have a slightly weird place to start because I don't want to start right here. I have too much stuff to do on each side of it, so we're going to do the 6th stitch before the puff stitch. So here's my puff stitch, and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. So notice we're also above the spike stitch down there. This is going to be where we join, and that's my first single crochet. So for this repeat, like I said, lots and lots of spike stitches. We're going to start with 3 single crochet. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And now we've got 3 spike stitches. 1, 2, and 3. That should bring us up to our spike stitch here, or I'm sorry, our puff stitch. Not everything is a spike stitch. This is the puff stitch. So like before, we're gonna do a single crochet through both loops because that just really helps make the puff stitch look nice. Now we're gonna have a single crochet just in the back loop of the chain stitch right there, like normal. Now we have our camel stitch. This is really like the green round we did here, same sort of idea. So camel stitch, remember, not the front loop or the back loop. We got to go to the back of the work and grab this third loop back here. This one's really tiny. There we go. Lost my yarn though. So we got that. And then after the camel stitch, just one single crochet, back loop only, normal. Right, oh, didn't get it, sorry. Into the front loop there. So now we're back into a long stretch of single crochets to work into here. So this is where we're going to be going back and forth with spike stitches and singles. We're going to start with 3 spike stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now we have 7 single crochet. That's 2, 4, 6, and 7. Now we're going to do 3 more spikes. So 1, 2, 3, and now just 1 single crochet before we do another 3. 1, oops, 2, and 3. All right, after those 3 spike stitches, we have 4 single crochet. And the reason we're breaking this up is that we need to throw an increase in there. So that's 2, 3, and 4. I have my increase. There we go. And this should bring us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches before. So we're ending on this increase here. That's going to set us up with the 6 stitches before our next puff stitch. And it gives us this long stretch here as our repeat for this round. So lots of spikes and sort of a little weird with the pattern, but we're going to end up actually filling in some of these spaces later on in the next round. So we're going to join in the 6th stitch before the puff stitch, and you notice it's right above this spike here. 3 single crochet, 3 spikes. Now we got to do the section where the overlay stitches are. So we start with a single crochet in both loops, just a normal back loop, single crochet into the chain stitch, camel stitch for the single crochet here, and then a normal single crochet back loop only that's going into this front post. It's basically the same pattern we had for the pink. We're doing it right here. After that, we have 3 spike stitches, 7 single crochet, 3 spike, 1 single, 3 spike, and then 4 single crochet followed by an increase. So that's your repeat, getting these spike stitches to have some interest and to highlight the lavender part of the design. And after this, we're starting the last few rounds, which is really just the edge that we're building up, it's a little bit longer on this one than some of my other mandalas. So do that 8 times around, and I'll see you for the next one. All right, with round 38, we're really starting the edge for the design. It's got a few rounds to it, and this is really the first one. We're going to do the variegated yarn and join in the first spike stitch after one of these lavender front post sections. So we join here, and our chain is our first single crochet. Now we have 4 to begin with. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So next up we have a set of overlay stitches, which we're going to repeat a couple of times in this section. So it's going to be, you know, where we have these stretches of single crochets, we're going to do it there. So we start with a double crochet, so yarn over once, and we're going to go into the lavender front loop. And now we're going to do a treble crochet into the next green front loop. So make sure you don't go into the same one. We want to go over one. So a double, then a treble. We did 2 stitches, so I want to skip those 2 stitches. Skip, skip. And then here, we're going to do our increase for the repeat. Now we're just going to reverse the overlay. So start with the treble and go into the green front loop. And now a double into the lavender. We did 2 stitches, so we skipped 2 stitches. And now we're going to have a stretch of 10 single crochet. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. This has brought us over into this section of single crochets from before. So we're going to repeat our overlay bit. So we're going to start with a double crochet into the lavender front loop. And then a treble into the green. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and then here do 2 single crochet. We did an increase in the first one, but we don't need another increase, so we're just going to do 2 single crochet. And I don't know if you can see this, but when you're working it, you'll notice those 2 single crochet are going into that increase from the round below. So it helps you with a landmark to know that you've got the right place. So now after those 2, we're just going to repeat and reverse the overlays. So we do the treble first. Then the double. Make sure you skip those 2, and we should end with 8 single crochet. So 1, 2, 4, 6, and here's number 8, which should have us all set up so our next repeat can start in that first spike stitch. So this is what we've got here. As I said, this is the start of this last bit of the design. We're going to join in the first spike stitch after the lavender front posts. We start with 4 single crochet, and then we have our overlay pattern. We do a double crochet into the lavender, treble into the green, skip those 2, and increase, and then we have the treble followed by a double. Skip those 2, and you have 10 single crochet to get you to the next side. Now we repeat the little pattern here, double, treble, skip 2, now 2 single crochet, treble, double, and 8 singles bring you to the end. So that's the repeat. Go ahead and do that 8 times around, and then we continue with the edge.